everybody, and we're back on a new episode. And today, or this week I should say, because it's going to be a long one for me, I am procrastinating in our little park up that we've got here. I've got some work to do, and I don't want to do it because it's complicated. It's going to involve a lot of me ripping that apart. And the whole engine's got to come apart, and I've got to do a head gasket. But first, I'm having to put that off a little bit for a couple of more days. I say more days, I've been putting off a long time. I'm having to put it off a couple more days because I've actually got stuff that I need the van to go and do in the next couple of days. I think today and this weekend, so for the next 4 days, I'm kind of locked out doing what I need to do on the engine. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to do that thing on the engine. But once it's done, we're hitting the road. This is literally it. We're getting to the last maybe week, 2 weeks, I'll be stuck in this garden. So it's a very exciting time for me. However, before we leave, there's one more thing I want to do inside two more things I want to do inside the van. And it involves this area. As you will be familiar with, our seating area has now been sadly set to 1. Not a terrible thing, I'm on my own most of the time, but I'm going to make it a lot more comfortable. And here's what I'm going to be getting done over the next couple of days. First of all, this sliding table. I was going to get rid of it completely, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to be cutting it clean in half and blocking off this entire half of it. From literally halfway through this table, I'm going to make a slanted back piece, getting rid of all of that, all of those switches and things like that. They're going to be relocated. And then this chair is going to come out to literally form a square area there. Now there's a couple of things that we can do under that area. Most excitingly, I might be able to put a shower under there, like a shower basin, a shower tray, and then form up. Not set on that yet. That's not for absolute 100% definite. What we do know is that it's going to be coming out to there, and that's going to act like a big kind of sofa seat. I'm going to have some more cushions at the back there. It's going to be a lot more comfortable for viewing the projector and things. Then I'm going to have a smaller kind of like passageway for washing up and the like, and then that little table is going to slide out from there if I want more surfaces. And then we've got more tables going on down here, we've got swivel seats going in and all that kind of jazz. But this sort of stuff, the heavy woodworky kind of stuff, is what I want to get done before I hit the road again. So that's what we're doing tonight. I've got some fun laptop time set up with the Camp Quirky event that's going to be going on anytime now. And then I've got a busy week. Like my entire diary is filled up with meeting friends, and because lockdown is finished. So I'm actually meeting friends, and we're going to have a meal and watch Castlevania on Netflix and stuff like that. Taylor, pumped for that. I've got other things going on. I've got other friends I've got to go see. More and more. It's good to be busy. So, anyway, enough of that for now. Let's cut to, I don't know, some sort of time lapse where I start ripping this apart. What do you say? I'm such a dumbass. I did the whole thing. So, good morning. It's a new day. Day off today, and now we're going to get stuff done. Last night, however, I was cracking on. I thought, you know what? I'll get the first bit done tonight. I'll sort out that sliding table tonight. Film a little time lapse. I can loop them in. It'd be great. Didn't press record, so yeah. So there's no actual footage of that. I do have this, so you can see now the very poor kind of thing that used to be the whole table. Now I've put a support in there. This will be covered up, but now we have ourselves a little slide out desk, and obviously the seat is going to come up to there. So step one, nicely done. We just need to, tidy all that up. But we can do that. That's fine. Okay, now I'm going to start the time lapse. Now I'm going to start the time lapse. Good morning, everybody. It's weird, like, I'm excited to be getting things done in the van. The seat is looking incredible. And I know I'm about to rip the engine apart, and potentially the van's going to be off the road for a little while because I'll be working on the engine. And the MOT is due like the day after tomorrow. And it's not going to pass. So I need to get that done, and then the MOT. It's going to be an expensive and painful, I think, few weeks. So I'm just kind of like out here now, just, you know, just trying to enjoy it as much as I can. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. Good morning. First trip out of the van in a while, and we ran out of gas. So I've had to, like, muzzily wake up this morning and get my old hob ring and put it on this, because the one that was on this won't fit the coffee. So I've had a bit of a get up and make do morning, but coffee has been achieved. And for the first time, what feels like forever, I can wake up to a decent view. Oh, look at the grass. Wind moving the grass. Isn't that weird? Good morning, everybody. And it is actually morning. Got up early for a run. That was kind of cool. I've been kind of getting into the habit of eating better, coughing more, things like that. But we've gotten up today, reluctantly as it may have been, to get something done. The new seat is coming along well. I need to get a new sofa cushion for that, and that's going to have to wait a little bit. So until then, we're going to finally make a start with the start of the engine. This thing, so the problem, whether or not you're aware of it, is that deep in this engine we have developed something of an oil leak in the head gasket. Head gasket's quite a bad one. It's going to be quite a lot of work to get done. I need to basically, everything you see here, I need to take off. Including this actual whole lump of head. So I need to drain the oil, drain the water, disassemble the whole front of the van, and then take that big lump off, and then send it off to the engineers to be re-skimmed so that we can put it down. It is a big job, and unfortunately there is quite a lot that can go wrong with it. Some of these parts, like the injectors in here, can be quite fragile, and they can be bastards to get out. So to say I'm not looking forward to this is the understatement of the century. But it's got to be done, so we're going to do it. And I'm going to take you with me. Set up a camera, start working, and see what I can do. We did manage to get a new part for the front of the van, because it's starting to rust away. We've got all the stuff we need to start dealing with the rust as well. So by bits and drabs, this thing currently has no MOT. So we need to get that fixed in the next week or so. It's going to be a lot of work, not a lot of time to do it, and only these two hands. So wish me luck. Right, let's get things started, shall we? Let's strip it down.
Cutting the power lines, we're done talking about it. A spark turns into fire, and we're not sorry about it. If you're not sleeping tight, you know we're onto something. You hear the streets are crying, ocean turns into fighting. Take it to the streets, hit control the lead. Take it to the streets, hit control the lead. Warning's been spread wide, you can't do none to stop it. Posing is bona fide.
do this kind of work. This is coming off, I think it's an expansion tank for the coolant. And it just doesn't look at that. I'm no mechanic, but that doesn't look good to me. All right, so if I haven't lost any of you so far, and I wouldn't blame you if this wasn't your episode, because it wouldn't be mine, I've taken apart the front half of the engine. I don't know how well you can see that. Let me show you. So here it is, all of the belts and pulleys and all that kind of jazz. Now, this is of concern. This should not have any oil on it. That is not a healthy looking bit of machinery, so I'm going to definitely have to do that. Also, all of this oil coming down the engine, this is what has been causing us problems and dripping. Now, this kind of lump here, if we sort of zoom back, this whole lump has to come off. Because it's that gasket there is what's sort of leaking oil. You can see sort of above it doesn't look too bad, and then as soon as you go below it, it's soaking in oil. Apparently, according to the mechanic, that's one of the big giveaways. So I've got to figure out how to take all of this stuff off. Lord help me. This is not my wheelhouse. I'm going to do my best, but there's a lot of oil here, so I'm just going to, I don't know, I think it's time to maybe clean it off and just crack on. Not the most riveting of episodes. Hopefully I'm going to cut, it's going to be quick for you, because by the time you see this, I'll be able to go, and it's done. So, yeah, let's go from there, shall we? Well, it's been a couple of days, and work, as you can see, is continuing. Now, I got to a point where I'm looking at removing the top head of the engine, and the cam belt and the cams and the complicated bits inside their engine are the next bits that I'm going to have to look at tackling. Now, before I did, I thought I'd do some research, as I tend to do when I'm doing these works. I do it stage by stage, researching as I go, and I found that actually there are some specialist tools that you need to do this. The cams need locking in and things like this. The injectors apparently are absolute bastards to get out. They don't want to leave these engines apparently. And there's a specialised tool for pulling them. And apparently they can snap, they can do all sorts of horrible things if done wrong. So I sat there and thought, all right, well, how much are these tools? These tools are totaling 400 odd quid together, everything that I need to get. And I sat there and thought, it might just be cheaper to get a garage to do it. Like, I've done a fair amount of work, but it might just be cheaper to get a garage to take care of it. So I called around, and a lot of garages just won't take it. It's too big, they're not interested in the work, they don't want to get it done. So I called around one and can't do it, hand over to another, and I'm asking for recommendations of other garages as they go. If they can't do the work, can they recommend someone who can? Eventually I get to a guy in Ipswich, seems like he knows what he's talking about, and he said I'll be very surprised if it is a head gasket. And he described some problems to me, and let me tell you let me show you what he described. Apologise in advance for anyone who is not remotely interested in mechanics, but this is the buttress of what he kind of described to me. So he said, at the back here, this is the inlet, this is where everything goes, this is where everything sort of is pulled together and goes in. He goes, that often leaks and it will throw oil out of the engine. And as you can see inside that, there is a fair amount of oil where none should be, and underneath it, that does look wet. So he does say that is likely, he goes, it's unlikely to be a head gasket, more often these goes. He said that's not a good job to do, but that is doable. The problem is that doesn't explain all of this mess. All of this oil, all of this mess, that's all coming from, we think, the head gasket. And that's a problem. Because apparently the head gasket, he said, is an absolute bastard of a job because of the aforementioned snapping of the injectors. He said it's a can of worms. He goes, you'll go in to fix one thing, and you'll be there all year fixing and fixing and fixing. And he said it's easily a 4-figure job, which is a big problem. You know, I'm not afraid to throw money at it because it's my home. Going all over the country in this thing, so I'm not afraid to throw a bit of money at it, but it's a lot of money. On top of everything else I've already spent on it. I mean, it's got a new alternator on there, the gearbox has got new parts on it, I was about to buy a new alternator, it's got a new starting motor. I was about to buy a new alternator. And I'm starting to wonder if it's going to be a new engine job. A whole new engine. What am I supposed to do with that? So, yeah, at the moment, things are looking pretty dire. I'm not even sure I'm going to have an answer for you this vlog. I wouldn't normally have recorded this, but I'm trying to be more realistic, as we know before. Not just shiny content. Hey, look at this stuff going together in a time lapse. I want it to be a little bit more real. And this one's less of a happy vlog. But it's kind of, it's stoking a desire deep within me to get on the road. Like, I'm determined. I am determined. And if I have to rip the engine out of this and put a new one in, I will. So I guess it's time to batten down the hatches of this poor sucker and start looking into new engines. Now, Patches is booked in to that garage. He said he'll take a look. He goes, before I do any work, I'll take a look. Get it in. He can't get it in for like a week. He said, get it in, get it to me. I'll have a look and see if it is a head gasket or what I suspect is a lighter job. And I suspect he's going to say it's both. So that's where we're at. I think I need to get some distance from this. I don't know what to do.